Let's cheers to our first episode.
Chasing the Living, episode 1.
Trivette Clinic.
Trivette Clinic. Well, just want to say thank you to 704 Paranormal for joining us on the investigation. I had a really good time with them. Shout out to them. Check them out on their channel. But going into this, we've been there a couple times. Didn't really think we were going to get anything. Wasn't really expecting anything. We walked in, just kind of open-minded. Got new gear, new camera gear. We just wanted to really have fun with it. And since it's kind of local, we just figured, we'd go. So
yeah, were you expecting to get anything at all night? Where were your expectations?
I was going to give it like a 2.
I wasn't expecting to get anything.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really want to even go.
No.
Just
because we had been there before.
Right.
This is kind of a place where they do things throughout the year. They charge admission. People can come in.
Halloween
groups, local things.
Yeah, and it's like every time we've been there, there's always been like groups of people because they're, it's like pay at the door. They have people walk you through, and we always been like, shit, we can do this way better with how we think about things and how, we look at things differently. But I walked in there, it was, first of all, it was the coldest it's been here in years. I think it was 20-something outside, and it was probably colder inside, wouldn't you say?
It was so cold, like shivering.
Yeah. It's, a couple times it said 30 degrees. We kept getting different changes, but it was just so cold.
I lost 3 pounds just by
being tense. Yeah, your shoulders were hurting. We might have thought it was something, but I think it was just because you were like really tense. But so we walked through. Shout out to Doug and Tim. They're great guys. If you're in North Carolina, definitely recommend going through there. They treat you like family.
Yes.
They told us to stay as long as we wanted, and just, basically put things back, But
treat you like family so much, we invited them to our home.
Right. Which, that's coming soon as well. But just walking in there for the first time in a long time, because we haven't been there in, maybe 2 years. Yeah. It has a different kind of feel to it. And maybe because something's been brought there. There's a lot of people that go there. There's a lot of channels that's been to the Trivette Clinic, and maybe something was brought there from just people itself, but you can definitely feel something there, not like you could before, because the Trivette Clinic's been open for a while, right? I mean, you've been there, what, how many times?
Yeah, my brother and I have been there. You and I have been there.
Yeah.
My boys have been there.
So, we've been there.
But we've been there when it's been, you have groups that come in, and you have a group that will be outside, you have a group that will be downstairs, one in the basement and one upstairs. So
you can't get like
house.
Right. You can't get EVPs. You can't get like clear evidence because there's always something going on. You creak, you may think, oh, well, what is this? And it's somebody just moving around or talking. And that's the thing about being in the basement. You can literally hear everything upstairs, like you're there. So when you hear something, it's like, holy shit, we just really heard something. And we did.
There alone.
Right.
Yeah.
So we started out with 4 of us, and then we went to 3 of us. Now, before any of this happened, I did a walkthrough with Doug, and, being a new camera, maybe it had been my fault, but I didn't change any of the settings. And I lost a lot of footage on this, a lot of footage. So much so that we had to go back again because we've lost so much footage.
Like make a trip back to the Trivette Clinic.
Yeah.
To have him do a walkthrough for us.
Right, because I thought that was very important for you, the watcher, to get a kind of a backstory on it. Now, we could talk to Doug for hours, and he would probably tell us hours worth of stories, but his time was limited. We kind of wanted to get going, so we did get a walkthrough. this time. I think the first one was better, but this one was just as good. Tim was in the first one. It was just Doug on this one. But we do the walkthrough, and you just feel something different there now. And I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, yeah, because never before on the trips that you would go, and it would be Halloween time, and it's something to do with your, you know, your family or whatever. You go, and it's like a haunted thing that you do. You don't feel it, but now when you go and you're renting it for the night for yourself, you can definitely feel like it's almost like something kind of just walks with you through the thing with Doug as he's touring the house. It's like something's just kind of walking through with you. I didn't feel
kind of like a patient, like walking through the halls, you know, just have something to do. Like they're just with you.
I'm not even sure if it was that way.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you get told the stories of what the Trivette Clinic was as far as a nursing home, a dentist office. You know, Dr. Trivette had his clinic there. You get told that, but now it doesn't feel like what's there has anything, to me, has anything to do with any of those places.
Right.
For me.
Right. Well, going back to what I was saying, we had 4 of us the first time we went. One of them had to leave. Bethany had to leave. So it was just us 3. And then, it would go throughout the night where we wouldn't get anything. It got super boring, kind of. And then all of a sudden.
It wasn't boring. You and Austin.
Well, right. We're in the middle of making jokes or whatever, but it kind of like you forget that you're even doing this. But then all of a sudden, we have like some kind of presence that come through downstairs in the basement that we can't explain. To be so cold. I mean, to be so cold.
I'm talking like layers of clothes, shivering, no heat, one of the coldest nights of winter here, cold all throughout the house, and now you're in a basement of an old house, and you're so cold, and then all of a sudden,
we all feel like we have a heat wave, and not like a heat wave through your body. Like my legs wasn't warm,
no,
my arms wasn't warm,
no,
but my face, on my left side of my face, was torching, and your face was torching.
Well, it was just kind of funny because we're sitting there, and it had got we had been getting responses that made sense, but then it got kind of still, and then just all of a sudden, I made the comment, my face is, and then Austin from 704 Paranormal says hot. And I said, yes, it is on fire. And it just literally felt like my face was just so hot and on fire. And then you spoke up and it was like, yeah, mine is too on the left side.
Yeah, left side of my face. Yeah.
So it was like all of a sudden we were all just super, super hot. I mean, literally my face could have sweat. It was just so hot.
Yeah. It was alarming.
Like something different definitely changed, but then it just became quiet, calm. None of our devices were going off.
No.
Nothing was being said.
No.
And it just kind of felt like a calm before the storm. Like something had just made its presence known. And it wasn't like, this is fun, happy time. Right. This was like, I'm here.
And so there's been a lot of stories with the Trivette Clinic as far as it being a detox center, which is very interesting because they would chain these people to the wall to detox. They didn't have, the scientific stuff that they have now to get people off of drugs or alcohol, which I don't know if it still works, but maybe chaining a wall was better. I don't know, but it was like a torture, especially coming out of that stuff. So you got that, and it's literally right behind us on this wall. There was a couple things that was moved downstairs. It was a supper club, a detox center, a dentist. Dr. Trivette died pretty young, and they were building an extra wing onto this place. This was going to be like the granddaddy hospital, especially back in the sticks back there. I mean, for it to be where it's at, you would not think that, for them to have an x-ray machine and all this stuff, you wouldn't think that this would have that. But, he's seen something. Evidently something was going on there in Hamptonville, North Carolina. But, yeah. But, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of nowhere. But, so you got all these places going on. And then, we hear stories about there's a man outside named, is it Charlie? Charles, that chases you from the woods. Has really nothing to do with the Trivette Clinic. He's just out in the woods.
Well, they say that there is a pond out there, and they do say that maybe, possibly, the little girl's spirit that's in the basement could have possibly drowned in that pond back there. So there is a pond back there, but yeah, Charles apparently doesn't have anything to do with the clinic, the dentist, the nursing home, the rehab, anything. And it's just a spirit that is in the wooded area that comes up to the house and is not a nice spirit.
At all.
Yeah.
So he came through a couple times, and Dylan, your brother, has had some experiences with him, and he was the fifth on the second night. And really, I think when he starts to talk, when Dylan starts to talk, Charles kind of comes through. I don't know, but we got Charles the first night, and we got Charles the second night. Another crazy thing, because we use Spirit Talker, we just like to have it on our phones, and we've got a lot of things before we started this channel off of Spirit Talker. So shout out to them if you want to be a sponsor. We've gotten some things that you just can't explain. In fact, in this very house. So we like to use Spirit Talker, but we had the craziest thing come through on Spirit Talker that, we've been using it for years.
Yeah.
It said, fuck you. It said, fuck. We've never really seen it say that. So it could be.
No, it said, go fuck
Go
yourself.
fuck yourself. That's what it was. And we think that was maybe Charles.
I have had Spirit Talker app for 2 years, and I've never had a curse word come in.
Right. Not like that.
I've never had a curse word at all.
Okay. Well, I think I've seen shit or something like that, but that kind of stunned me. And it changed from that very point. It changed the mood of the night. Yeah. It affected me the second night. I got very irritated. I think it affected Austin a little bit. I feel like when I was under the Estes method, Austin was getting kind of violent towards the spirit because it was coming off very, very strong, like a demon presence, and it very could have been.
And Bethany was getting very emotional.
She was ready to get the hell out of there, quick. Yeah. But it was different. The mood changed. It kind of sucked the life out of everything. We were kind of all just ready to get the hell out of there. But some of us. We're investigating. Until 4 or 5 in the morning. We don't quit.
We started at 8.
We started at 8, so it was a long day. But we just expected, nothing. And then it was so good that we kind of went back the second night to get footage that we missed for the first night, and it didn't let us down. We had it. But we will be going back. We're going to go back at least one more time. Doug has asked us to maybe participate in some of their Halloween functions, so you might see us there with 704 as well. But
one of the things I would point out too is how the first and second nights that we were there, so the first night it was just you, me, and Austin, and we got some things upstairs that didn't seem dark at all. It was kind of like patients checking in and out maybe, and then Dr. Clinic maybe said, it's me, here I am, like I'm here. Dr. Clinic, Trivette, whatever.
Yeah.
And then the second night is when it kind of went dark, and I just lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that? But the second night, it kind of played into us personally, which is why I feel like the second night is when it was a darker presence. So the first night we were there, it felt like it was, possible people that had come in and out of the clinic or nursing home or lived there or whatever. And
right.
Even possibly Dr. Trivette himself. And then we did get our face heated in the basement, but it was shortly after that we quit, so we didn't stay to see how that would play out really in the basement. But the second night, in the basement when you went under the Estes method, some of the responses that we were getting, there are responses that were coming out that was personal to each one of us in some way. To Dylan, it was personal, based on our dad. To us, it was personal based on our oldest son. To Austin and Bethany, apparently they have researched a demon and what it says, and I didn't know anything about
with
that.
Z and O, and
Yeah.
I mean, we're our channel's gonna be different than a lot of other channels. We're called
Why are we
Chasing.
talking about that?
We're called Chasing the Living because we like to look at things in a different way. If someone was wrongly accused of murder, we want to know their story. There's been a lot of people,
Or even if they're correctly charged with
right,
murder. I'm
right.
not condoning murder at all, but just like in any movie, a villain has their backstory too.
Well, especially back in the 1800s, you could get away with all kinds of shit. You all you had to do is have money, and if you were wrongly, look at the Lizzie Borden. I mean, who knows? Did she do it? Did she do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
So our channel's about seeking out spirits, that darker spirits, demons, that may be wrongly accused. If that sounds whatever, we just want to really know their story, regardless if they did it or did they not. So we're going to be asking different questions than a lot of people ask. The Trivette Clinic was brought to us. We appreciated it, and it was a great first. But we're going to be doing a lot of different things in North Wilkesboro, with the hanging tree. There's a lot of stuff there. We're going to go all over the place. We're planning to go to the Sally House, which is one of my all-time favorite places. I've never been there, but I've had dreams, and I can almost tell you what it smells like there. And then we're going to do the Axe Murder House in Iowa, and then who knows from there. But we're just getting started.
So if you have places,
yeah, comment below,
tell us about them.
especially in North Carolina, because that's where we're at. But we're going to travel everywhere. So we don't plan this to be just in North Carolina. We're going to travel as far as we can go. So, but
the point of our channel personally is, if there's a darker spirit, or we would consider a darker spirit on the other side. Maybe they have something they want to, tell a victim. Maybe they have something that they want to say as
right.
to why they are who they are, or have been labeled who they are.
Right.
So tell us that, because we believe that you can.
Yep. I mean, because look,
it's not all about reaching out to.
Right. Everybody always hated the Joker until the Joker came out, and then it's like,
right.
Well, maybe he wasn't a bad guy. Maybe he's been screwed around, So that's what our channel's about. Is just we're kind of the jury in this as far as finding out what is going on, and then maybe we'll find something. There's a lot of things going around now that it's questionable, but we're going to do things different here. Looking forward to the future with Chasing the Living. But back to the Trivette Clinic. Mm-hmm. So we walk there, we do the walkthrough. The first place we go is Dr. Trivette's office. It's right when you walk in to the right. Or actually, if you walk in the main entrance, it's going to be to the left. But we're there 15 minutes. Almost to the point where we didn't have enough time to set up things. And it's on fire in there. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this is going to be a good night. This is going to be a really good night. EMF's going off, REM pod's going off, spirit talker's going off. All of it's, kind of going together as far as it felt like to me, and you can validate this, it felt like there was people coming into the door almost like it's a checkup. Like, all right, I'm here, Dr. Trivette. I need my pills. I need my whatever. I need my, there's a couple of there was one spirit that came through, like my legs was hurting, and you can kind of feel it. Now it's hard to explain, but it felt like someone was like walking in, checking in, and walking back out, and then it was like the next person, just to the point where I asked, could you touch the REM pod like this, and I put my hand on it and I back off, and then within 5 seconds, something touches the REM pod. That it felt like it was that active.
That happened the second night.
That was the second night, yeah. But it was almost the same. And we're getting the second night. We've got the name's Tony, and we kind of like marked it up as a joke. We start saying,
Tony.
Yeah, Tony, like Italian. But we kept getting Tony like all night.
And so keep that in mind when you watch the Estes method.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the things that we feel like a darker spirit, possibly a demon, used on us.
Yeah, I don't know, to loop back around, I don't really know.
But it did feel like it was patients coming in, checking in, and then all of a sudden the REM pod went off and Spirit Talker says, "It's me, I'm here." Like,
right.
The doctor's in.
Oh, and then it's like, like take a picture. And I don't know if I have that footage or not. I don't know if I have it. I lost a lot of footage. So the walkthrough footage, the Trivette office footage, I think.
It was just the first part.
Maybe another.
I think it was the walkthrough and maybe 2 videos that you took.
Yeah.
They just went into hyperactive.
Yeah, it was like I hit fast forward, but I know I went back on the camera and I looked at it and I didn't change anything prior, really, because I did some test runs and did some B-roll footage that, everything was fine. So I'm going to mark it up as maybe new camera, new person using it, but I didn't change anything. So it was kind of weird. The fact that we lost some of that footage was kind of ruined the first night for me, because I'm like, damn, this is really good stuff, and now it's gone. Like it's almost like making a perfect movie and then you forget to put the tape in to record it. So
have you done that?
Have I done that?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Made a perfect movie, forgot to record it?
No, I haven't done that. I'm saying as a director. But so all that footage is lost. So I'm like, the first night's kind of, distraught, but I cheer up. We go downstairs and we get Cheerio, and we go downstairs and we get some hits, and we're new to this, but we're not new to this. We've been doing
new to the on camera.
Yeah, we've been going
and doing this together for
a very long time.
Yeah,
we are the strange
and unusual.
Right. So I mean, we live and breathe this. This is what we do.
The house we bought is for this.
Right. This house was built in 1910. A lot of history here. But so we lose all the footage. We go downstairs, and we start getting some good stuff downstairs with Austin from 704. And we're, like I said, we're all new to this. We're trying to learn each other, because we want to do a collab deal. But we're learning, because we got no equipment. There's things that you have to do differently now. We've always been the type of people that would just feel things and go out. Never had an EMF detector. Never had, a record. Well, we did have a recording device, which.
Yeah, but we're not really the kind of people. We're the people that when there's an event going on, we're not the one with our phone or camera. We're the one taking it in with our eyes.
Right. With like our kids. With our kids and whatnot. Like we're there. We're not there to just record stuff. So all of this shit is new to us. We don't really do this. We've always felt things. We've been together for a while, and we've seen things in front of each other like you can't explain. And I'm like, did you see that? Did you, especially in the other house that we lived in, which was that. Yeah, that was crazy.
That may be a mini, and we'll wear our weird shirts.
Yeah, right. Mimic voices, things. I mean, you can't explain. There was a graveyard beside of it that they were moving bodies from an old graveyard. I went to look at my lovely wife's location, and I seen that she was at the house, and all of a sudden I seen like this flower and a tombstone beside the house. I'm like, what the hell is that? So I looked into it, and it was a graveyard. I got home and said, baby, I think there's a graveyard beside our house. And she was like, what? So
we had to wait till the middle of the night.
Right, of course. So we walk out back, and there you have it. There's
a line of trees. So that's why we didn't.
There was like evergreens.
There's
evergreens. So you couldn't really see it, but we walked around, and all of a sudden we see, like these new graves, but they're old tombstones.
What, like 30?
I mean, there's a lot. Yeah. So we're like, man, this is like the Night of the Living Dead kind of shit, like there's a lot of stuff here. And after that moment, our house was never the same.
This is not just us. Like, we don't bring our kids into this. We have 4 boys.
No.
But they each have their own thing that they have shared with us with the house.
Yeah, that we didn't know about until, we opened up about it, and then we're like, oh, But that might be another video.
Beanie.
Right.
Shirt.
Right. But, so, the video we're talking about today is a Trivette Clinic. So we're downstairs, we're getting hits, and then we get good footage, we get names, we feel things, we get hot. We kind of after that, it's cold. It's probably it's at least 3 in the morning by then, right?
First or second night.
First night.
Yeah, it was 3 in the morning.
Yeah, so that's when it's quote unquote the best time, and we believe that any location is haunted 24/7.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's something different when you're out when you're not supposed to be. I was always told there's only 2 people out at 3 in the morning, 2 types of people, cops and robbers. And then you have the third, which is ghost hunters. But we're getting super hot to the point where, it kind of drains us. It drains the batteries. There's a lot of editing going on where, me and Austin both are talking about how much our batteries are getting drained. So we're taking a break. So we're going to go upstairs. We're going to take a break and get some heat. We had to go sit out in the cars, our vehicles, because it was so damn cold. And I work in the mountains, and it was just cold. And to be honest with you, I didn't prepare it because it's kind of down the mountain. We are up the mountain. It's kind of down the mountain a little bit, and I wasn't really preparing myself to be that cold. We got hand warmers. We got all this stuff that we didn't bring. I brought like a thin hoodie and a shirt and like some regular, pants. And I'm like, okay, I'm good, but it was cold.
Yeah. My shoulders and stuff were super tense. And at first, I was thinking, oh my gosh, something's affected me. Like people say, affect them. And my shoulders just hurt and hurt and hurt. They were just hurt.
Right.
But I really feel like it was just because I was just so tense all night, just shivering. It was just so cold.
Maybe. Maybe.
My
you
dad
don't know.
tells me that's what it is.
Well, that's possible. But we're downstairs, and the one person or kid that it's kind of famous there is Majesty.
Yeah.
She owns the basement.
I feel like she owned the nursing home. I think that's how she got her name, was
right.
Because the nursing home residents called her Majesty. Her actual name is Mallory. So I guess, a little kid running around the nursing home and you have older people and she's probably telling them to do this or do that or play with her and they're like, whatever, you Majesty,
Yeah. Also, shout out to Fat Bottom Betty. That's the only thing I really smoke. So that's just my jam. But
oh, and Kong. That's right.
Yeah, Kong on the Rocks is a good sponsor for us. Cigar trays, whiskey stones.
Nice granite planchettas.
Anything really out of stone that you need. Great company. But so we're trying to talk to Majesty, and really we've both been there. Their thing is to put a ball on your hand and Majesty will roll it off. Yeah. I think a lot of that, and here's another thing with us. We're going to debunk anything. We're going in hardcore style of, I don't know.
I just think there's too much of a scientific
right
thing for that. You sit too long with the ball in your hand.
But you can't explain black things, mist going by you. You can't feel how your inner self feels, your intuition, your, if you ever walked somewhere in the middle of the night or day and you felt like something was chasing you or walking behind you, that's intuition. That's something's telling you something ain't right. And
Okay, so with that, I would say with the Trivette Clinic, for me, I went into it both times that we went with no expectation of anything happening, of it not being haunted, of it being, yeah, it was all those things throughout history. And so with that, people attach their own stories to it, or, all these devices that we have, we can kind of make ourselves believe that it's saying something. And so the first night, with all the names checking in and the things that those names checking in were saying was hurting, you can kind of make yourself make that story. But nobody can take from me being in the basement the first night and my face just being on total fire when it is literally 18 degrees and freezing. And the second night, nobody can take from us the fact that, yeah, we can make our own stories to what the spirit talker was saying, or the spin-offs that we can go from the devices that we use. But when you went under the Estes method, something was saying things through him that had a personal thing to all of us.
Yeah.
A personal thing to all of us. So much so, one of the takeaways I take from the second night is we made a joke upstairs while sitting in Dr. Trivette's office where, it was who's the dark one here, and JoJo or Dylan says something about Tony, and we make a joke about, oh, Tony, and we're all saying that. And then downstairs during the Estes method, Austin from 704 Paranormal says, who's the dark one here? And you, under the Estes method, say Tony. And he says it multiple times and laughs. And it's almost like it was mocking us from earlier.
Right.
And you can't take that from.
Right. And I couldn't hear anything. This, the spirit talker, not the spirit talker, but the radio, it's noise canceling headphones. And it was really fucking loud. I could hear loudness from Austin, but I couldn't really hear what he was saying. Plus, I'm trying to understand what the box is saying. So
you can hear the box coming through on the recording.
Right.
So it's so loud and muffled.
If you can hear from outside the spirit box, then I can't hear anything. Now, I did hear yelling, but I couldn't make out what it was. Austin got really into it. It was almost like he was getting mad at me. Bethany was getting upset with me. I'm laughing at things, and they're like, you shouldn't laugh at that.
Meanwhile, I'm sitting there like this.
Right. Which, that's how we are. We're like, bring it on. Like, we feel comfortable enough with our spiritual life that we don't really worry about that. Now, we're going to have a lot of people.
Pull him out.
Right.
Keep him in.
Right. Let's get all the details here. Now, there's going to be people here that it's going to disagree with that, and we appreciate your input. But if I feel like I'm in danger, I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to keep going. But I'm going to push it. We're both going to push everything we do.
I'm your greatest protector, and I would think you would be.
Right. So if I see that she's not acting right, I'm going to get her the hell out of there.
Same.
Right. So we know each other. Now, you go into a place that has, they're going to play with your mental. They're going to feed off us. See, we know this. We're not naive to it. We know that, why are we getting so irritated? And if we need to walk out and take a break, we will. I think it was getting to that point for a couple of the people there that night. When I get out from being under,
You seem tired.
I seemed tired, but I also seemed kind of like laughing about it. Like, I didn't think anything. There's like, we got some demonic stuff, and I'm thinking, I didn't feel anything. I did feel like something was going around my legs. Almost like rope, or I don't know. Like maybe almost like a kid playing with my legs or something. Which the first night I got a one-on-one, and the second night I got a one-on-one because I kind of wanted to mix the two together to see if I got the same thing twice. But the first night that I did a one-on-one was almost at the end of the night, and the second night I did it at the end of the night. So we're already been through there, and we're ripping these ghosts' ass apart, and it gets very almost violent in there, and I had no idea why, because there's no reason to talk to spirits like they're kids. There's no reason to talk to them like like they stole your lunch. We want to know why they're there and what happened to them. We don't mean them any harm. We want to know their story. But it got to the point where they were I felt like everyone was getting on edge. Is that the right word to say?
Yeah.
Some of us was getting on edge, and you can't explain that part of things. Like,
I guess for me, like me personally, even if it's a demon that you're talking to or communicating with, I want to know your why. Like, I guess I still want to know what do you have to say?
Right.
And why are you just in that basement? Like, why are you just?
And these spirits are, they know things that we ain't gonna know yet. So they're very, very smart and intelligent, and they know how to get inside your psyche and make you feel things and make you maybe see things. If you go in there with a little bit of naive, or if you're a little intoxicated, or if if you're not right, maybe you have like your own problems. We feel like the spirits is going to thrive on that. That's what they're looking to do, especially bad ones, demons and whatnot. And we have a hard time, not to go too deep, but we're a hard time thinking that we're talking to spirits. We're thinking,
yeah, because I just don't feel like our loved ones are just here waiting to talk to us. I just don't feel like they, and I don't want to get into this on this channel. But
no. I don't want to either.
Yeah, I feel like when you are talking to someone, it is a darker or troubled spirit, and that's why we started this channel, because we want to know why, or what do they want to say, maybe even to their victim, or maybe to somebody that they wronged, or maybe if it is something dark, tell us your why.
Well, I always look at spirits, and this is really far out, but I always look at spirits kind of like the Christmas Story kind of way, where they've done things and they feel like they've done wrong, and they're trying to either tell you not to do things wrong, or you have ones that just don't care, and they are bad spirits, and they are out to influence you to do the wrong thing. Who knows? I mean, EMF is a real thing. I've been places where there was no EMF, electromagnetic field, and I felt like I was happier. And then I've been to places with a lot of electronic magnetic fields, and I felt down and like, heavy. So I really think that is a thing.
Yeah, I do believe in stuff like that, like barometric pressures and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but to loop back around, we're downstairs, and I'm, the first night I'm downstairs talking to Majesty, and I feel like, there's a kid, and there's also a boy too.
A little boy named Jimmy. Who died because he fell into, was it hog fat?
Yeah, something wild.
And it just burned him, and he died. But he didn't die instantly. It was like he suffered for a little bit.
Yeah, that's horrible.
His name is Jimmy.
So like kids and stuff, like even if it's kids and it's portraying itself as a kid, you almost still have to feel, and that's what we're saying. Like there might be something that is bad, and it portrays itself as a good spirit, like the Sally house. I mean, there's been some demonic shit happen there, and I don't know if it's a little girl. I don't think it is. I think it's a demon. I think it's something that preys on people. But this felt like a kind spirit. I didn't really feel anything bad, but I did feel something at my legs that night. So I'm tying those two things together only because the Esty method of having something go around my leg. There's toys down there. We have a crazy demonic looking doll. We're maybe trying to capture something into that doll. That's just how we are. But we're gonna take that doll on every trip that we have. It's in the house now. Don't know if it's gonna be in the house when we start going to all these places, but
It will be.
it might be in our bedroom. But so with the things around your legs, that was kind of weird. I noticed in the video I was moving a lot with my legs. I twitch a little bit, but I don't twitch like that.
No, because I myself am known to shake my leg because it's just a thing, a family inheritance. My brothers do the same thing, the boys do the same thing,
Yeah.
and it aggravates him. But the entire Estes method, almost, especially when it's starting getting pretty high, you were constantly moving your legs. Constantly.
Yeah, and I didn't notice it.
Stephanie even asked, does he normally do that? And I said, no, he actually gets aggravated when I do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. It gets on my nerves. If I'm sitting there watching something and someone's shaking the floor, it like irritates me. So for me to do that, it was kind of weird. So to take that into effect, to take the legs thing into effect, and like I said, we know how to shut off things. We've done.
Maybe we push it too far because we do know how to shut things off, but we want answers so bad, and we want to find things out so much, and we want to push it so far that we don't necessarily, when it's you and I, turn something off as quickly as
Right.
maybe others would.
Right.
Because even that night during the Estes method, I mean, this is my husband. He's under the Estes method. Everybody's freaking out that
And
he's
you're like,
saying this demonic
keep going.
thing, and I'm sitting there watching.
Yeah, she's thinking this is fucking great footage right now. We're getting
Well,
some
no,
really good stuff.
I wasn't even thinking footage. I was just thinking, okay, like,
Right, this is what we're here
something's
for.
happening.
This is what we're here for. But with all that being said, we do the Estes method, and then we go upstairs and we kind of we brought snacks and stuff. We can't go somewhere without eating something, or maybe drinking something here and there. But so we go upstairs and we kind of split up at this point, and so the main room that's supposed to be maybe the darkest room, is where there's blood on the floor. Now you ask Doug, he thinks it's the landing up there at the top where there's chairs, and I show that in the editing process of that room.
Which, let us just say, Doug and Tim feel like there are no bad spirits there. Every spirit there is a good spirit.
And that just could be maybe that's just their influence of trying to keep bad spirits out,
Well, no, it also makes me wonder, did we bring something with us? Because 704 Paranormal has done investigations. They have, go over and check out their videos. They have places that they've gone where, there was a couple of comments that came through our devices and under the Estes method where they thought a spirit had followed them from another location that they had been. Brandon and I have been to many places without recording anything, and
which we would have, because we've got some crazy shit. I mean, things that you can't even explain. And well,
you and I are both just
we've had some weird stuff.
We're very sensitive to things, and I feel like I've been my whole life, and you have got stories from your whole life. So. Right.
We've both been through traumatic experiences one way or another. I grew up beside the Ballstain Bridge. And if you know anything about that story, we're probably going to be doing something on that as well. That's going to be probably later on, because it's still a touchy subject for me. But growing up around that, where a train was derailed off right in front of my house. Not to mention some other things. We'll disclose that later. But and then Christina having a traumatic experience as a young girl. These things stick with you, and it makes you look at life differently, and that's what this channel is about, to look at the darker side of things, but also just on the floor, because it's in pine, so you can't get blood out of pine.
in which Doug says that there was a bloody handprint that slid down the wall by the window that they tried painting over multiple times and it kept coming through. So they actually had to cut that piece out
The
and
plaster.
replace it.
Yeah, and that's a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah.
So understanding things, right? I mean, you can't judge a book by its cover. You got to open the damn thing up and read it and understand why it's that way. There's burnt pages and there's missing pages in books for a reason, right? So that's what this channel's about. But back to the room with the blood stain. So you're gonna have to help me with this story a little bit. It was basically a woman giving birth, right? And
well, there's multiple stories with that room, but this is the one that sticks.
The ones, yeah. So the woman was giving birth, and she
apparently wasn't married and got pregnant. And during that time, we're talking about early 1900s, 1930s, 1940s. You're pregnant, not married, that's frowned upon. She gave birth to a baby, and she was in that room. But when she gave birth to it, she was told that the baby didn't make it, and they took the baby out of the room, locked her inside, and while she's inside, she hears the baby cry outside the room, which, as a mom, would drive you insane. And so apparently there is blood on the floor still to this day. We saw it. Did you film that?
Yeah, I filmed that. Yeah, it's on the floor. You can see the blood stain on the floor because it's in pine, so you can't.
We didn't get to investigate that much in that room.
No, and so that's what I want. That's where I want to go back. Between Dr. Trivette's office and the basement.
I mean, I will say, like, the heat to the face and the responses you were getting on the Estes method 2 different nights in the basement is like almost an addiction.
Yeah, like what is it? It's almost like getting a tattoo. If you ever got a tattoo, you just want to keep going back and getting more tattoos. When it comes to YouTube, we're rookies. Yeah. We don't know shit about any of this stuff. You're talking about 2 people that don't even have social media. So we're coming off of this like what we say is going to be real, and you could take it for what it's worth. If we see something, we're going to be straight honest with you. If we don't see anything, we're going to be like, we didn't see shit. We're husband and wife, and we already have a different opinion on the Trivette Clinic, which is good.
Which I didn't know.
Right. So we both believe there's something there, maybe a different type. And then maybe that'll change next time. Maybe when we go back, I'm going to be like, I didn't feel shit. And you're going to be like, I felt everything. Who knows? So with that being said, cheers. Chasing the living. Follow us. Subscribe, like, do all that shit.
We will put more videos out there.
We're going to put videos. This is just our opening act. And after this, within a week, we're going to post our first video, the Trivette Clinic. So just stay tuned for that. And that's it. Cheers, everybody.